This morning on BRN, how can retirement committees review retirement income products and services? We're going to welcome back to the program Andy Larson of the Retirement Learning Center, and welcome to the program Dan Long of Double Line Group. Andy, always great to see you. Thanks for joining us this morning. And Dan, great to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Great to meet you.
Glad to be back.
Yeah, and I love covering these things with you, Andy, and it's always great to bring in an industry expert like Dan, and we're going to talk to him in a minute. But, my first question to you, Andy, is when you think of hurdles, what is or what are some of the hurdles for committees determining a path forward on addressing retirement income needs for their plans and their participants?
Really, I think there's two. From a strategic perspective, I think most plan committees view the 401k as an ancillary plan, as the 401k was originally intended. That's just not the case today. Most organizations don't have defined benefit plans, which in effect means the 401k becomes the primary plan. It becomes the pension, to use that term. Committees aren't thinking of the 401k in that context. Once they do, then I think the ERISA standard of operating that plan in the best interest of the participants should come into play as really the first step to get committees aware of potentially the need to at least explore retirement income products.
Well, Dan, it is great to meet you again. Thanks so much for joining us. Always great to get another industry perspective. So I think Andy brings up some great points about the perspective of committees. But let's talk for a minute about the retirement income product set that exists today. It continues to evolve. What does it look like today in 2024?
Yeah, the product set looks, it's pretty diverse, right? From my opinion, there's a lot of old products out there right now. The really good ones too. I call them old, but they're still really good. And there's a new one almost every day, Andy, right? I mean, we kind of see these alerts coming out. So it's evolving really quickly, this product set. But I think what needs to happen too is that Andy kind of alluded to kind of starting a process that the product evolution has to match the process evolution. You can't really dive into all these complex products unless you have a really good process. And I think, Andy, you said these plans are really in an interesting place. Yesterday, the Treasury just announced this new program, right, for the financial inclusion plan. I mean, I think 2 or 3 of the 5 bullets had workplace plans at the center of it. So, these products are coming. They're there now. They're evolving fast, but that process has to evolve just almost as quickly with it.
Yeah, and just to follow up on that, Dan, are committee members, and by that I mean fiduciaries, are they able to differentiate? Because you're saying it's going at a fast velocity, and that's great because you want a marketplace with lots of different ideas, lots of different products. But are the committee members and fiduciaries able to differentiate the products and how they could apply to their plan, and more importantly, how the participants can differentiate them as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's always this process. So Andy and I have these conversations, and it's the process, right? It's kind of like, know your plan, know the trade-offs, and then follow a path, and then if you know your plan, you really know, you can hit that retirement income market to see what actually the plan should select. So to kind of to help clients distinguish between what they can select, really differentiate between products and services, to keep going down the line, you have to have a comparison process. Put the products in one spot, come up with some criteria, analyze them. Put the services in another spot, come up with some criteria, and analyze them. And I think, kind of what we say, is a way to simplify it is products are red, services are blue, retirement income solutions are purple. Now we know what to do, right? It kind of makes it simpler, makes the complex a lot more simpler to talk about, and kind of breaking it up into kind of big buckets like that, and using colors makes it simple. And that just kind of helps make sure what products and services are out there so that you can find the ones that actually fit the plan, like Andy was just talking about.
I like that saying. It takes me back to my childhood. Roses are red, violets are blue. Instead, put it in the the construct of retirement income. I think you got something there. And maybe if we could teach third graders about this, we wouldn't have a future problem about retirement income. But we'll talk about that later. Andy, I want to bring you back in on this because a lot of the individuals that typically help committees are consultants, advisors. And I guess, you and I thematically have talked about education. Are these groups, consultants, advisors, retirement plan advisors, however you want to define it, are they educated? Do they have the background and the education that to help, as Dan was saying, help the roses are red, or not roses are red, but help the committees make these decisions and differentiate these products?
I don't want to, with my answer, I don't want to paint with too broad of brush. However, I do think that many of the advisors, many of the consultants out there, as all of us, we are prisoners of our own experiences. We have not talked about retirement income. We have not talked about the 401k being the primary plan. We haven't been involved in selection on products and services. And because we're prisoners of our own experiences in terms of not focusing on retirement income, we generally don't. There are, in my experience, anecdotally getting to be a few that are starting to embrace this. And that doesn't mean they're advocating retirement income products, but at least they're embracing the notion that the 401k is the primary. And maybe that means we operate the plan differently than we've done in the past.
Yeah, really good point. And Dan, just to kind of close out this part one of our conversation, you're out talking, as a person within the retirement industry, someone who's a senior person, you're out talking to these exact individuals, consultants, advisors. I want to get your perspective on this. How do we take this information and boil it down into digestible bits to vis-a-vis help the committee understand the decisions it needs to make and maybe prioritize retirement income?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Kind of restate, right? Each plan is going to do that differently. There's each process is going to look a little different, depending upon kind of your advisor and your providers that you're working with, your plan, what it needs. I think it just goes back to that path, right? That path needs to be repeatable. That process needs to be repeatable. It has to be aligned to objectives, aligned to the plan demographics. The toolkit that we provided, it actually creates that sample evaluation, process, by making all retirement income alternatives purple. Retirement income's holistic. Everybody knows that. It comes from in the plan and out of the plan. It comes from guaranteed and non-guaranteed. It comes from fiduciary and non-fiduciary. It comes from plan in the plan and out of the plan. That really captures all retirement income, that's out there. To help committees, though, you really have to show them a process of how to break it up. So that's what we did. Products are red, services blue, everything's purple. But once you create those buckets, that's when the process can really start to heat up and people will really start to understand what they're buying because they're comparing the trade-offs between the products in each of those respective buckets. I think that those are some of the early steps in the process that need to happen before you get too far down the path to actually pick, products and services. But I think that's kind of a lot what the early steps of a fiduciary process will look like.
And that's a perfect segue, Dan, to tomorrow's part two of our conversation, where we will be talking more about the fiduciary process. Dan, Andy, so great to see you. And look, we look forward to having you back on the program tomorrow to pick up the conversation.
Thanks.
Thanks. Take care.
And don't forget to subscribe to our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse, for all the news in one place. Details, of course, are at our website. And like I said, we're back again tomorrow with Andy and Dan to pick up the conversation. Until then, I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes.